At the end of the interview, she told me, okay, we want to hire you. Do you accept? And I was like, yes. Like literally, I wanted to just scream, and I was like nearly in tears. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tierraney, also known as Miss Tierraney. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the hiring process with Teach for America and also what hiring looked like for when I was applying for my first teaching job through Teach for America. So I'm doing this video in collaboration with two other people who did Teach for America and have channels here on YouTube. One of them is Teach Like a Girl and the other is Happy Black Chick. So I'm going to leave the link to their videos down below because they both did Teach for America, but in totally different regions than I did Teach for America. So that will give you their perspective, and they also were different core years than me. I was a 2013 core member and they were different years of the TFA core. So the process might have looked completely different. So definitely make sure you check out their videos to hear their perspective and how things worked out for them. So without any further ado, I'm going to get right into the video. Okay, so first I'm going to start with how I got hired on with Teach for America. So they have multiple deadlines that you can apply to Teach for America throughout the school year. However, I decided to apply, I believe, on the second deadline that they had. So I applied through the second deadline, which was around October. And mind you, I did not even find out whether or not I got into Teach for America until January. So it's a very long hiring process. So first step, what I had to do was, I believe, submit my resume, and then I also had to turn in a letter of intent. So with my letter of intent, there were a couple questions that I had to answer, and basically I had a full page to type up and write my letter of intent. So with my letter of intent, I made sure to take that to what we had on my college campus, which was called the Writing Center. And so I took it to the Writing Center, had them kind of look over it, give me some feedback, and make some edits, whether it was punctuation, grammar, whatever it was. And from there, I made the edits and then I submitted my letter of intent. So I submitted my letter of intent and my resume, and then a few weeks went by and then I found out whether or not I was advanced on to the next part of the hiring process, which was the phone interview. So I advanced on to the phone interview, and during that time, it was maybe about 30 minutes. I was in my dorm room and I was over the phone talking with someone who was a part of the Teach for America organization. So I was talking with that person, answering their questions. Really, they wanted to know a lot about my resume and little areas on my resume, such as leadership roles that I held and what I did in that role and different things like that. So I answered those questions, and then I had to wait to find out whether or not I got advanced to the final interview round. So the final interview round took place in about December, and thankfully I was accepted into the final interview round. So this was probably the toughest part of the interview / hiring process. The first thing is that I had to select a location as to where I wanted to conduct my final interview. So I chose a nearby college in Atlanta, Georgia that wasn't too far from my college's campus, because my college did not have interviews taking place on our campus. So I went to a nearby, a little larger university, and I had to rent a zip car because I did not have my own car up in Atlanta. And so I rented a zip car. I drove there really early in the morning, around like 7, and I got there and I was able to get myself situated and everything like that. And once I got there to the campus, the first thing that we had to do was deliver a sample lesson. So with the sample lesson, it lasted 5 minutes, and you were able to choose what content area, what grade level, and basically what you wanted your lesson to be on and how you wanted to design it. So you have 5 minutes to do that, and the other candidates were pretending to serve as students in your classroom. So you went went and you did your sample lesson, and everyone went around and did that. It was about 12 of us, I would say, in one room. So once we did that, then we moved on to a little activity in small groups. So basically they gave us a article, and we kind of had to discuss that article amongst ourselves. So the people who were interviewing us on staff with TFA were mostly just kind of observing and seeing what roles people took in the discussion, how often people spoke up, did they take time to let others speak, did they listen to others and then add on. So then once we went through that process, we had to sign up for a one-on-one interview. So with the one-on-one interview, once you signed up for that time, then you would meet one-on-one with one of the people that were interviewing you, and basically you just had a conversation with them. They asked you more questions about your resume, and you also had to do a role-playing activity, which was very interesting. And then basically the interview concluded, and all you had to do from that point was wait to find out, did you get selected to serve as a Teach for America core member? And so I did not find out whether or not I was accepted or hired on with TFA until January. So January came around, I got an email, and the email started with congratulations, so you know your girl was winning. So at that point, I found out that I was going to be teaching in Houston, and I found out that I was going to be teaching elementary. That's pretty much all that I found out. I then had to go through a hiring process with school districts that TFA partnered with in Houston. So I ended up having to create a resume, and Teach for America made you kind of use a resume template that they specifically had. So everyone who was hired on by TFA had to put their resume into this template and then submit it back to TFA. They would give you some feedback, some edits that would have to be made, and then they basically submitted your resume into a pool. And then from there were other charter schools and then other school districts that had the opportunity to kind of look at your resume and say, yes, I would like to interview this candidate or not. So I was interviewed by one of the major school districts in that area, and from there I had to first interview with Human Resources. So I had my interview with Human Resources. Mind you, I was still in Atlanta, Georgia, wrapping up my final year of college, and so it was a lot going on at that point. But I was wrapping up my final year of college, and I also was conducting these interviews at the same time. So I interviewed with HR, and because I was in Atlanta, they did it virtually. So we used, I believe, Skype. And so I interviewed with the gentleman from the district with HR, and then from there I was progressed on to having the opportunity to interview with principals. I first interviewed with a school, and we again had to conduct the interview virtually, and it was just horrible connection. They were like, we'll have to reschedule. It was just not good. I don't know if it was probably the internet connection on both of our ends, to be honest with you. So I ended up not getting a reschedule with them, and it was just, we took a L. Then I moved on to the second school, and I interviewed with them. Teach for America would give you feedback throughout. Like, once a school would tell them, oh, I interviewed with your TFA core member, and I decided not to choose them because of X, Y, and Z reason, then TFA would relay that information back to you, which was helpful because then it would help you to improve yourself for the next interview that you had. So then, at that point, the second interview took another L. Principal was like, no thanks. So then I moved on to the final interview that I had, which was with another school. And I know that I was meant to be at this school for various reasons. The Lord just worked it out for me. It was a beautiful school building because they just moved there like 2 years ago. So it was nice, beautiful, even though it was a Title I campus. It was just a beautiful school campus, and I was happy to be there. And so I interviewed with that principal over the phone, and immediately at the end of the interview, she told me, okay, we want to hire you. Do you accept? And I was like, yes. Like literally, I wanted to just scream, and I was like nearly in tears, like just thank you, God, because I did not want to be denied a third time and have to interview again. I just wanted that to be done. I wanted to know what school I was at and everything. So then I was hired on there, and basically that's just how everything went. I didn't fill out paperwork and everything until I got to the Houston region, and that was actually something that they had us do during Institute. Everyone who was hired on by that district traveled to the district headquarters building, and we filled out paperwork there and everything over our Summer Institute. So if you want to know more about Summer Institute, then you can check the link right above in the card section, because I already recorded a video all about my Institute experience with Teach for America over the summer. So basically that is what the hiring process looked like for me. Other people were hired on with their first interview with the principal. It just is a different experience for everybody. So that is what my experience looked like. So remember to check out Happy Black Chick and also Teach Like a Girl's video. I'll have it linked down in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, and also make sure that you subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications. And if you would like, you can go ahead and share with me what did the process look like for you when you were getting hired on with your first school as a teacher. Go ahead and leave that in the comments down below. I love to see how your experience compares to mine and what similarities and differences we have. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.